Today on Good Ohio Eats, we are in St. Clairsville, Ohio. Standing behind me is the Clarendon Apartments, formerly known as the Clarendon Hotel, which was built in 1890 and is currently on the National Register of Historic Places.
It was a key stop on National Road,
The first federal funded highway in the United States, connected the eastern states to Ohio River Valley and Midwest. And speaking of motels, our first stop today was originally a motel when it was bought by Mary Mehlman over 60 years ago and turned into
Mehlman Cafeteria.
We're going there to try a hot roast beef sandwich and their infamous coconut cream pie. How it compared to coconut cream pie I had at Dee's restaurant my first season, you have to watch and find out. And secondly, we're going to Menor to visit the former home of our 20th president, James A. Garfield. And then we're going to go to Dynamite Dawgs to try some fair-inspired foods, including a house-battered corn dog. Let's eat. Here's a piece of gyro meat. Oh, look at that. Eggs dripping already, look at that. Cornucopia, right? There we go. So here we are, about to try a cafeteria-style restaurant that's been cranking out home-style favorites for over 4 generations. This is Mehlman's Cafeteria. So here we are, inside. Here's the menu right here. The roast beef sandwich. Might try some of those broccoli roll too.
Liver and onions. You don't see that too often anymore either. I want to show you what it's like while I'm waiting here. You can see it truly is cafeteria style with the trays and everything. Pretty cool. But alright, I'm going to go to the line now.
Alright, I'm back. It's really cool vintage decor in here. There's an old piano. See behind me, there's like a mural behind me. Pretty cool in here. I'll show you what I got. Here's the hot roast beef sandwich with mashed potatoes. I got gravy on top of the roast beef sandwich and the mashed potatoes. And I was gonna get the broccoli casserole, but it wasn't ready yet. I got this instead. Homemade cabbage noodles, look delicious. Here is their infamous coconut cream pie. Toasted coconut on there. And I'm a big lizard guy, so I might as well get 2. The price is very fair here, so I might as well get 2. So yeah, peanut butter cream pie. That looks delicious as well. So I'm ready to dig in. At first, let's try the hot roast beef sandwich. Let's try this. There we go, first bite. I don't know. Seems a little overdone. It burned a little bit. That was fresh roast beef, but kind of disappointing. It's pink roast beef right there. It's okay. Let's try some of this mashed potatoes and gravy now. I tell they're homemade, they're soft. Yeah. Delicious mashed potatoes. Let's try the gravy. That's good stuff.
Now let's try the roast beef with mashed potatoes and gravy. It's okay. Roast beef still tastes
overdone. Yeah. Oh wow. Mashed potatoes are delicious. I can tell they're homemade though. Alright. Next, let's try these cabbage and noodles. A little pepper and there we go. A piece of cabbage. Oh wow. These are good. Taste the butter. Yeah, these are delicious. Yeah. They're homemade noodles too. It's a lot thicker cut. Yeah, delicious. Glad I got this. I might mix it in. There we go. I'm dumping it all in there. I'm mixing it all together. Delicious. Roast beef, bread, gravy, mashed potatoes, cabbage and noodles. It's kind of crazy. Cabbage noodles don't really match. Should probably just get that roast beef. The bread doesn't really match with the mashed potatoes too. Alright, I'll finish the rest of this plate.
and then
I'll be on to the desserts. Alright, I'm back. The more I ate,
roast beef.
the better it tasted. Maybe I just had a few burnt pieces. I thought it was homemade roast beef. Got better, so. Alright, here's the coconut cream pie. Got toasted coconut on there. Here we go. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so you can see it's crust, coconut cream butter, meringue, and coconut. Toasted coconut. It's meringue instead of cream, which I usually like cream more, but that meringue.
Look how
soft it is. Yeah. Good stuff. Try this crust. How's the homemade crust? It's white. Look at that. Pretty good. Definitely think it's better than the one I had at D's. Tastes more coconut, and this cream miller is really thick. The crust is a little hard, but tasty is just a little hard. Delicious. Coconut cream pie. It was one of my favorites. I can tell this meringue is fresh too. Fresh homemade food. Goes on easy. Last big bite here. Delicious. Alright, on to the next pie. Alright, we're back for the peanut butter pie. You can see crust. It's got peanut butter crunchy layer, the cream layer, and then meringue. It's probably gonna do me as the last sweets, but peanut butter pie is one of my favorites too, so I had to try it. Here we go. First bite. Wow, that's delicious. There's a crunchy peanut butter layer. You see right here. It tastes like peanut butter fudge. It might be like Nutter Butters or something. There we go. Delicious. If you can see it. Look at this. How this meringue is in here. This pie is delicious. The crunchy peanut butter bottom. I feel almost like peanut butter sauce you get like at Amish places. Peanut butter marshmallow stuff. The peanut butter fudge. Delicious. Outstanding. Yeah. Both pies are outstanding. I like this peanut butter even better. Good stuff. Same crust. It's a little hard. It's busted everywhere, but matches well with the pie though. It's getting a little rich. Delicious. Last bite. Alright. That's it. I'll go back to my car to get my final thoughts. Alright, I'm back for my final thoughts of Mehlman's Cafeteria. Definitely high quality homemade meal. One of my favorite items had to be those cabbage noodles. Those are absolutely delicious. Tons of butter in them and homemade noodles. I'm not a big noodle person, but those noodles were delicious and definitely a must try. And that peanut butter pie, that was absolutely delicious as well. Probably the best peanut butter pie I ever had. That thin layer of peanut butter with crunchy bits, delicious. Tastes like peanut butter fudge, absolutely delicious. And that coconut cream pie was a close second too. That was delicious as well. Probably the best coconut cream pie I've had doing these videos. Definitely better than when I had at D's restaurant. I'm usually someone that prefers whipped cream on a pie instead of meringue, but I thought that was homemade meringue on there. It was soft, it was delicious. Delicious pie, excellent desserts. The only thing I was a little disappointed on was the roast beef. It got a little better the more I ate it, and I mixed it in with the mashed potatoes and gravy. Might have missed the fact temperature-wise it wasn't the warmest, so I couldn't like taste it properly. Maybe next time I would try like the meatloaf or something else. I don't know. But overall, I can still tell it's all homemade foods, and definitely a place you gotta check out when you're in the St. Clairesville area. And this place was packed. I was here on a Thursday during the day, and this was packed, so you know this place was good. And it's cool, you don't see many of these cafeteria-style restaurants anymore. And it's a very cool atmosphere. Definitely a place to check out, and I highly recommend. And with that, on to our next stop. All right, we're here now. You see the house in the distance there? If you can see that. Here at the James A. Garfield National Historic Site. And there's something right here. Ohio historical marker. The American flag right there. James A. Garfield and the Civil War. Oh, they must have been in the Civil War or something. The talent for our organization won him distinction in the rank of Major General at the Battle of Chickamauga. His gallant and virtuous military successes launched him into national politics and the presidency. Same on this side too. There it is. James A. Garfield National Historic Site. Towards the beginning of the site. But I'm gonna check out here first. James A. Garfield lawn field. 1876, James A. Garfield bought this 118-acre farm in the rural village of Mender, Ohio, and soon purchased an additional 40 acres. During the 1880 presidential campaign, reporters called Garfield's lawn field. After Garfield's assassination in 1881, Lawnfield gradually changed. His wife sold about half the farm in 1908, and other family members reduced the size to less than 8 acres, and eventually donated the property to the Western Reserve Historical Society in 1936. 1980, Congress established James A. Garfield National Historic Site, memorialized the life of our 20th president. It contains Garfield's house, campaign headquarters, and some structures built by Garfield's widow, Lucretia. So right here's the map right here. We are here, visitor center, chicken yard, chicken parking lot, which is where we started at. Horse barn, tenant house, campaign office, meal, gas holder, greenhouse, horse barn.
This is a depiction of Longfield's 1880s campaign. Those girls' 100-acre farm is outlined in yellow. All 38-acre historic site is outlined in red. Okay. The yellow is what his farm originally was. I mean, the red is what it is now. All right. Guys, looking, it's called Longfield because I guess during his presidential campaign in 1880, he gave a lot of his presidential speeches on his front porch facing his lawn. There it is. Longfield, home of James A. Garfield, 20th President of the United States of America. There he is. James A. Garfield, Longfield. Designated registered National Historic Landmark. 1964. Beautiful day today, which is nice. All right, let's check this stuff out. This is headquarters. Employees only. So I think that's for the staff, that building. Yeah. Birds chirping out here. It's nice. Nice to not be completely freezing for once doing these videos outside. This must be the barn area, I think. Garfield's farm. This barn was originally built for James A. Garfield in 1877. It was actually located near Manor Avenue, but was relocated here. Oh, it's built in 1894. Okay. What's this over here? Railroad connection. This dirt lane once led to the farm's northern field in the Lake Shore, Michigan Southern Railroad tracks, about 3 4 miles from here. Huh. During the 1880 presidential campaign, the railroad ran a special train to stop the Garfield's farm. When the special train stopped, thousands of supporters walked up this lane to listen to speeches by Congressman James A. Garfield, the Republican candidate for President of the United States. That's what it looked like. Huh. Where's where I think where I was standing? Right down here. You see, right down there, that was probably the pathway right there. Connected railroad station to here. There's the barns. Go down here. Yeah, saying he was assassinated in 1881. I found out how it happened. He's actually assassinated by a man named Charles Guiteau. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's like Guiteau. He was a mentally unstable man who thought he was owed a position as an ambassador to Europe under Garfield's administration just because he gave a couple of speeches in favor of Garfield during his presidential campaign. After many attempts of visiting him at the White House, he eventually shot him at a Washington, D.C. train station on July 2nd. It's a really sad thing because he actually should have survived. He actually shot him in the back and missed any vital organs. But the problem was the doctors couldn't find the bullet. I think it's the main area still. Let's check what's down here. And so they spent weeks searching inside the wound for the bullet. And the problem is the American doctors didn't care about cleanliness, so they stuck their dirty fingers in there, and it eventually got infected, and he got sepsis and died months later on September 19th. Pretty sad. And if they had modern medicine, he should have survived. Alright, what's this? 1885, workers discovered an abundant supply of natural gas at Longfield and built a stone gas holder building. But this is Lucretia Griffin owned her own gas works for household lighting, heating, and cooking fixtures as well. National Public Utilities supplied natural gas. By 1940, the gas light fixtures had been converted to electric lighting. Wow. Oh, you can see it. It's pretty cool. There we go, I guess. This is the windmill. Pretty high up there. Be under construction. You can see inside there a little bit. Oh, there's flies. Yeah. See the house over there in the distance. It's a nice little place. Oh, there it is, the windmill. There we go. There's the windmill. The Garfield family's windmill tower is 60 feet above its stone base. She had the original tower built in 1894 to problems with an old polluted well, a gas engine water pump. She had installed in 1885. The windmill pumped water into a 500-barrel holding tank in the windmill tower, and from there, it was gravitated to a 300-gallon tank on the third floor of the house, which floated the faucets in the kitchen, bathrooms, and laundry rooms. In 1939, this was placed at Mentor's Village water supply. Wow. They had their own gas house and their own water pump, basically. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Things you don't think about nowadays. Yeah, here's the house. There's old trees. Look at those. Pretty crazy. Just the street here. Expanding the house. First house here, built between 1831 and 32 by James Stuckey, stood only 1.5 stories tall. In 76, Garfield bought the Dickey farm and had it extensively remodeled in 1880. As President Garfield was assassinated in 1881, expected to receive many public donations. The invite used a portion of the rent to add a third floor and back wing to house, including the James Garfield Memorial Library. That's the original farmhouse looked like before where James Garfield bought it. And that's the remodeled house right there. Here it is. James A. Garfield National Historic Site. Not sure we're supposed to walk around this way, but maybe I should go this way. See in the paths. Nice little walking village here, kind of. I think the temperature started to drop a little bit now. Probably because I said that. Yeah, look at those squirrels up there. They're gonna drop nuts on me. I gotta remove. Campaign office. So been buzzed with activity. During the 1880 presidential campaign, Garfield changed his library into the headquarters of his political supporters and meeting room for the press. Here now, November 2nd, 1880, James A. Garfield received a telegraph message that he had elected president in one of the closest races in United States history. That's what it looked like back then. Oh, let's see if we can go in here. Door's open. Look at this, is pretty cool. Abraham Lincoln statue up there. Oh, pretty cool. Alright, let's go head back out here. Oh, there's different kinds of trees in here. Japanese lilac? This is his house. So we have to go into the visitor center to get a tour. So at least check the outside of it right now while we're over here. Don't think we can record inside while they're giving the tour. So I think we're going to take pictures like we've done in other places. See another, somebody else over here. Front porch campaign, there it is. From July to November 1888, Republican candidate James A. Garfield staged his presidential campaign from his home. That's pretty cool. Using this porch as his rostrum, Garfield delivered dozens of speeches, some more than 2 hours long, to more than 15,000 supporters during the campaign. Garfield's front porch campaign was a new approach. Before 1880, presidential candidates usually did not get personally involved in their own campaigns. Typically let their party's best speakers campaign for them. Wow. But since Garfield was one of the best supporters of his day, he spoke for himself throughout the campaign and changed the way future candidates ran for president. Wow. Two were black Civil War veterans from Cleveland came to hear Garfield speak in 1880. Wow. Garfield band in the front porch, bottom 1880. Music was frequently played during the 19th century election campaigns. Oh, there's a band. Maestro in front there. Wow, okay. Interesting stuff. Yeah, that's crazy. He gave his campaign right in the front porch. It's nice and convenient, I guess. And it was nice that they had that train stopped really close to us. People could come off the train, come right here, and listen to his speeches. That might be everything out here. One other sign I think I see over here. Here we go. Carriage House. Here we go. 1893, 12 years after James A. Garfield's assassination, Lucius Garfield directed the construction of the Queen Anne-style carriage house off to the left. See that right there. That's what it looks like in 1908. Looks very similar, honestly. So I have a horse stalls, a tack room, and I don't know what tack room is, a carriage stores. The second floor contains a hayloft, as well as 2-room apartment for a coachman. The carriage house contains a site of visitors and exhibits about the life of James A. Garfield. And there's the carriage house left in Windmill 1900. So this is what it looked like in 1900, over 100 years ago. So it looks pretty similar too. It's pretty crazy. All right, I think I'm go into the side of the visitor center now. Let's go. All right, I think the next tour's about to start in 5 minutes. There's like a museum inside here. First, we're gonna go on the tour, and I'm gonna take some pictures and show my video here. Then I'll come back and check out the stuff in here.
Black faces pressed against the glass while rain has pressed its way. Windblown scarves and top-down cars all share one western train. Sadness leaves the tear-stained cheeks from winos to dime store Jews. Probably don't know they gave me these late John Garfield blues. Midnight fell on Franklin Street and the lamppost bulbs were broke. For the life of of me I could not see, but I heard a brand new joke. Two men were standing upon a bridge. One jumped and screamed, "You lose!" And just left the odd man holding those late John Garfield blues. Old man sleeps with his conscience at night. Young kid sleeps with his dream, while the mentally ill sit perfectly still and live through life's in between. I'm going away to the last resort in a week or two, real soon. Well, the fish don't bite but once a night by the cold light of the moon. The horses scream, the night mice dream, and the dead men all wear shoes, 'cause everybody's dancing those late John Garfield blues.
Alright, we're back. Some things I learned on the tour was that the floor was freshly polished. The tour guy said we were the first tour on the new polished floor, which is nice. That when James Garfield got assassinated, he actually was shot 2 times. One shot in the arm, the other one in the back. Another thing is, after he died, his wife Lucretia made a lot of additions to the house. And after it was donated to the Historical Society, they had to make a lot of changes to it to get it back to the way it was when Garfield lived here. So that's pretty interesting. Also, it was kind of rushed trying to take photos. Only at the end was I able to take my time and take photos. So some of the photos of the houses might have been kind of hard to see, but hopefully you got a general idea of what it was like in there. One of the cool things too is the great-great-grandson of James Garfield was actually here today. So he helps out the museum sometimes, so that was cool. All right, I'm going to head inside the visitor center now, check out the little museum they have in there.
All right, we're inside now, and here's the first section of the museum. Garfield's World, the early years. James Abraham Garfield was the last president born in a log cabin. His parents were among the many New England pioneers who settled the Western Reserve in the early 1800s. Garfield's father, Abraham, a farmer and canal contractor, died in 1833, leaving his widow, Liza, to raise 4 children. According to his mother, James A. was the largest baby she ever had. And, he was very quick to learn, but rather lazy and did not like to work the best that ever was.
Okay. The pop back there.
His mother, Eliza, says she remarried unhappily when James was 11, left her husband after a year, and returned to the farm. And James, I guess, was humiliated by the divorce.
Family history here.
And here's James A. Garfield right here, born November 19th, 1831, in Orange, Ohio. There's a young James right there. There's James A. Garfield again. It says, the youngest of 4 children, James grew up big and strong like his father. Dreamy and clumsy, James loved to read, especially books about the sea. 16, he left home to be a sailor, but could only find work as a tow boy on a canal boat. Falling into the water frequently, nearly drowning, he contracted malaria and had to return home to his mother after just 6 weeks.
Wow. He's sworn as president. Wow.
It's impossible.
Here's the Bible. It was used by Garfield as he took the oath of office for becoming president of the United States.
There he is again. Chickamauga.
September 20th, 1863, James Garfield made his famous ride. Despite his horse being shot and his orderly killed, Garfield reached General Thomas and advised him the status of the Union Army. This won a promotion to Major General.
Wow. Huh. Battle Chickamauga got in the Civil War. Road to Wisdom.
When James was home with his mother, she persuaded him to enroll at Jogga Seminary in Chester.
There he thrived in his studies and became a skilled debater. He was baptized in 1850 as a disciple of Christ. Garfield entered the Western Reserve Eclectic Institute, a disciple academy in Hiram, Ohio, and earned respect preaching. Here is a quote from his diary, basically saying that he vowed to escape poverty by studying harder than anyone else.
Wow.
As his intellectual horizons expanded, Garfield also explored current ideas on spiritualism, hypnotism, and phrenology. Character analysis based on scholarship. Never heard of that before. That's one of the books right here. Affairs of the Heart. Garfield's courtship of Lucretia, eclectic classmate, was plagued with doubts and misgivings. Fearing the living grave of marriage, he put their engagement on hold for 4 years, marrying Creed in 1858. There they are right there. Sounds like he was afraid of commitment. Here are a few other love interests he had besides Crete. It says Garfield caused a scandal when he broke up an early romance with fellow student Mary Hubble. And while away at college, Garfield met charming Rebecca Selleck at a disciple church nearby. The mutual affection cast a cloud over his relationship with Crete.
Wow. Ladies, man.
And here it says, in 1856, he eventually returned to Eclectic as a professor of ancient languages. But it appears that he felt restless and wanted to do something else. It says he actually became the president of Eclectic in 1857. Wow. As you see here, he was destined for a political career. When the Republican frontrunner for Ohio State Senate died in 1859, Garfield was nominated with almost no effort on his part and usually won the election on an anti-slavery platform.
Wow. Very intellectual guy, I guess. Check this out.
As a young man, James A. Garfield might have enjoyed conversations such as these with Mark Hopkins, president of Williams College in Berkshire, Massachusetts. And according to what I read over there, Williams College was the college Garfield went to after Eclectic College. And as you see right here, he spent 1 year at Hiram. After that, he outgrown it and left to attend Williams College, and 2 years there, that's where he became a great orator.
Let's think about slavery.
I have just been listening to a snub speech by Mr. Jeb Patterson of Kansas Territory, who has had his life threatened for publishing his sentiments in reference to slavery and the election outrages in that territory.
Ah, yes. The newspaper editor from Missouri, whose press was thrown into the Missouri River by pro-slavery elements there.
I see in him the power.
I don't know if this is the real James Garfield, if somebody's speaking as of him, but
I've been instructed to learn on the political condition of the country, and from this time forward, I shall hope to learn more about it. I feel as though a great unified effort should be made, and that effort should have but one aim: the suppression of slavery in every newly acquired territory.
all right, it's still going.
I don't know.
Life in Washington, D.C. Early in Garfield's congressional career, Creed calculated that in 5 years of marriage, they had lived together in like 20 weeks. Then on Garfield's team, went with him to Washington, D.C., living in first and rented rooms. They tended to be homebodies, not socialized. Crete dedicated herself to raising a large team, and 5 children survived, and Garfield became a devoted family man.
These are his kids. That's one baby that died. I think up 86 at the age of 2, unfortunately.
That old bonnet that his wife probably wore. Recipe for a radical Republican. The Civil War shaped Garfield's early years in Congress. Although it went against the grain of his feelings in favor of Negro suffrage, he stood for abolition, equal rights, and retribution for war criminals. Look at those guys down there. All this stuff. Committee work. Landing an impressive appointment to military affairs in wartime gave Garfield's career an early boost. He pushed unpopular measures for the draft and against allowing men to buy their way out. Like Lincoln, he saw a bigger army as the fastest route to peace. The education congressman. Civil scholar at heart, Garfield devoted time to educational causes. He drafted a bill creating a Department of Education and served on the board of trustees of Hampton Institute, historic African American college.
That's the worst stuff.
When the war erupted, Garfield abandoned pacifism for military career. As a colonel of the 42nd Ohio Volunteer Infantry, he had recruit, train, and equip a regiment of Green Boys many from Hiram. And after a victory over rebel forces at Big Sand Valley, he became brigadier general and took command of a new regiment time to join the end of the bloody Battle of Shiloh. As the war dragged on, he wrote, "Before God, I record my conviction that the spirit of slavery, the soul of the rebellion, and the incarnate devil which must be cast out before we can trust in any peace is lasting and secure."
That gun there.
Garfield often fell ill with dysentery, wrestling with sickness as with a giant enemy.
Wow.
Items used by Garfield in the Civil War. Wow. A wooden trunk, some boots, a couple of hats, and a little cape that he wore. Pretty cool. You got a couple of swords here, too.
2 vows.
Fisher, Garfield went home to recover from camp fever and was elected effortlessly to Congress in 1863. Garfield long returned to the battlefield after Chickamauga, but at Lincoln's request, he left the army and took his seat in Congress.
It's right there. Oh, pictures of the military. Civil War.
What's this? 3-year-old Liza died of diphtheria in 1863, a few months after Chickamauga. It must have been another one of Garfield's kids that passed away, fortunately. See right there, little trot.
On the 36th ballot,
You have
the
Garfield.
tally is 3 votes for Sherman, 5 votes for Washburn, 42 votes for Blaine, 306 votes for Grant, and 399 votes for General Garfield. James A. Garfield of Ohio is nominated for president.
What's going on? I think this is like won the election, the president, I guess. There's noise in the background. This is crazy.
In 1880, Garfield's career suddenly skyrocketed. He was elected to the Senate that January. In June, he attended the Republican National Convention in Chicago, naming John Sherman Ohio for president. The 33 ballots, none of the favorites, could break the deadlock. Abruptly, the vote shifted. On the 36th ballot, son Garfield was nominated by a landslide, the dark horse candidate. I plainly understood that I have not sought this nomination and have protested against the use of my name. Nonetheless, a nomination coming unsought and unexpected like this will be the crowning gratification of my life, said James A. Garfield. There you go. See the 2 candidates right there.
Some more stuff, campaign stuff. There's some more stuff here. I gotta speed it up a little bit. I'm gonna run out of room. Inauguration speech, I guess.
Before he was elected, Garfield became entangled in patronage wars and cabinet appointments that consumed his time up to the inauguration. He finished his inaugural address at 2:30 that morning. Garfield, tired and pale, delivered a curiously bland speech. His first act as president was to kiss his aged mother. Although Garfield won by only a narrow margin in the popular vote, his electoral college victory was decisive. His 214 Hancock's 155. President Garfield's inaugural address, inscribed by President Rutherford B. Hayes, and programmed for Garfield's inaugural ball, March 4th, 1881.
It's the program, yes.
The inaugural address.
That's it. New speech. Stuff while he was president. 200 days of presidency.
Presidents then were more approachable and had more privacy than ones today. He had Secret Service and far fewer perks. He couldn't even afford his own horse and carriage for the White House stable. The president's job was very grueling. He had thousands of political appointments. Stage and greedy office seekers flooded the White House daily.
Wow. White House memorabilia. Top page. His leather boots. Velvet bonnet. For his wife, maybe. Killer shoes and wasn't better than wearing for his kids. Kids' shoes. Couple things I could read are
Garfield's contemporaries credited him with laying the foundations for civil service reform. To clean up the worst abuses of the spoils system, Garfield launched an investigation of post office scandals and issued the idea of a merit system.
wow. On domestic policy, Garfield pushed the problems of Connie Southern blacks lane education. Very strong ties with neighbors and friends in Latin America. Huh. Assassination.
July 2nd, 1881, Garfield set off from the White House to join his wife before heading on the Metro. He was strolling through the Baltimore Atomic train station with the Secretary of State's plane when tragedy struck. Emerging from the shadows, Charles Gattu fired 2 shots point blank at the president's back. My God, what is this? Garfield cried and crumpled to the floor.
A picture of the shot right there. That's it. Doctor's checking him. Orange from the horse's funeral. Silver document box. Wow. Stuff from his funeral. Wow.
On his deathbed, Garfield confided in his old friend Colonel Rockwell. Oh boy, do you think my name will have a place in history? Yes, a grand one, but a grander place in human hearts. Well, fellow, you mustn't talk in that way. You have a great work yet to perform. No, my work is done.
He knew he was going to die.
Doctors probed the wound repeatedly in their efforts to locate the elusive bullet. Alexander Graham Bell tried his new metal detector, but found only bed springs. Wow, he wore this hat on the morning of July 2nd, 1881, the day he was assassinated. And this announcement is from the
bulletin and the death of President Garfield September 19th, 1881. It's the only letter that Garfield wrote after the shooting, a note full of hope to his mother Eliza. You can see right here.
It says, "Dear Mother." Wow. Pretty crazy. So here's another room here. The funeral train is private. After he died.
At every town we were crossing, people were saying all with very mournful faces. People had come from miles around with all their children. From Mehlman Garfield, his daughter.
Memorial items presented to his wife. From the Queen. Queen Victoria. Wow. Golden morning. There's this.
The train that had carried Garfield to the sea returned to Washington draped in black. Over 70,000 mourners filed by the coffin at the Capitol Rotunda. The funeral of the train rolled onto Cleveland past silent trackside crowds.
Tributes poured in from around the world. Perhaps the most tangible show up in posting the game in the form of donations to over $350,000 to a fund for Garfield's widow. Wow.
A bronze death mask and a casting of Garfield's hand.
Wow. Casting of his head and hand. Wow. Assassin. There's assassin.
Charles Julius Coutu was mentally imbalanced from childhood. He's convinced that he had been fighting the shadows here. But he's convinced he had been instrumental in Garfield's 1880 election and therefore deserved a reward in the form of diplomatic post at Paris. In 1881, aware of divisions within the Republican Party, he believed he could save the party and the country by removing President Garfield.
What a gun.
He bought a 44 caliber British Bulldog revolver. He chose one with a fancy ivory handle because he thought it would look good in a museum someday. After shooting the president, he turned himself into the nearest policeman, fearing he would be lynched. And so he was anxious to go to jail, and he said, "I did it. I'll go to jail for it. I'm a stalwart."
I want Arthur as president.
The wire mattress display was made for President Garfield by the Hartford Woven Wire Mattress Company. President Garfield was shot on July 2nd, 1881, but returned for more than a month in the White House. So President was eager for a change of scene. His doctors considered an excursion on the steamer Tallapooza, which cruised the Chesapeake Bay and Potomac River. And as a young man, he had dreamed of becoming a sailor. Decades later, as president, he wrote in his diary
On June 19th,
1881, "I've always felt the ocean was my friend. The sight of it brings rest and peace." It was to an ocean resort at Auburn, New Jersey, that President Garfield was taken by train in early
September.
It is possible the mattress you see here was used on the train instead. The president died at Auburn on September 19th, 1881.
He wanted to travel on. Sick of lying in bed all day, so he wanted to travel by boat. He loved the ocean. What's this? This is a story about his family, I guess. Keisha, his wife, and his sons. I think it's another one of the sons, his daughter, another son, and another son. Okay. Mythic martyr to Garfield.
Garfield's life took on heroic proportions after his death. Biographers idolized his pure, upright career in the most maudlin terms. His path from poverty to the White House ascended the heights of service, of success, of greatness, of glory. Memorial items of Garfield floated the market, reflecting the public need to honor the fallen leader.
Memorial stuff here. Look at this. So much. Pictures. All this stuff. Alright. I think that's about it. I can see. This is about his deathbed right here. Sad. Alright, I think that's it. We'll go head outside now. I learned a lot of history there, but I'm hungry now. I'm ready for a corn dog. Let's go. Here at the Trap Place. For 6 years, has been specializing in unique hot dogs, burgers, and fair-inspired foods. This is Dynamite Dawgs. All right, I'm back, ready to show you what I got. First, here's the corn dog. It looks a little dark. Huh. You see the hot dog sneaking through there too. It's supposed to be hand battered, and you can tell it is with the way it's coming through right there. It looks pretty dark, so we'll see how that is. I wasn't sure what kind of hot dog to get. There's a lot of different things, and this is something I enjoy. I got their Polish boy, which is a sausage, coleslaw, fries, and barbecue sauce on it. And for dessert, I was debating between funnel cake and this, but based on reviews, this is what I felt like I should get. Some deep fried Oreos. These look absolutely delicious. It's interesting how some are like different sizes too. The chocolate sauce, there's a lot of them. These look really good. All right, I'm ready to dig in. First, I think I'm going to try the Polish boy before the coleslaw gets too warm. Convenient sausage, homemade barbecue sauce, homemade coleslaw, and fresh cut fries. There we go. First bite. Delicious. Nice. Usually it's full of meat. Kind of tastes like a kibasi almost. Maybe not fully. Yeah, it kind of took a classy, yeah. And the fries, good fresh cut fries, delicious, and the salt and the fries. The reason I want to try this, I want to get a chance to try the French fries. This one thing it's easy to do. So many things here. There's so many different things to try. You want to try everything. It's hard to. You spend way too much money. So this is the way to try the fries without having to buy fries extra. Let's try them. Coleslaw plain. All right. Yeah. It's chopped coleslaw. I mean, KFC does the same thing. It's all right. A little sweet. It's good. It's homemade. Barbecue sauce in my hand. There's the sauce right here. Taste it. It's good. Worcestershire on it or something. It's pretty good sauce. I didn't get a lot of napkins, which could be a problem. Probably not the smartest thing eating this in your car. Nobody talks like good smoked sauces. Definitely get some sweetness from the homemade barbecue sauce. It's good sauce. Not overpowering. I thought homemade barbecue sauce is overpowering. It's good. Last bite. Now let's try this corn dog. We'll see. Let's take a bite here plain. Yeah, it's not looking too good. Definitely tastes overdone and burnt. With the hot dog now. It is a homemade batter, I can tell. There you go. If you didn't know, corn dogs are dipped in a cornmeal batter. So I taste the sweetness of the corn there. I was reading that they use all beef hot dogs, which are my preference, so it's nice too. I can tell that too. It's delicious. You know what? It's bothering me. Stick this out. Oh, maybe not. It's just the corn dogs are really the problem, aren't they? There we go. I thought it was good. It was just fried too long, or they were really busy today. I'm guessing the oil getting kind of dark, so add some ketchup. I'm gonna try it with some ketchup now. Good. Yeah, it's so sweet. Even though it's dark, it's split like that too. Doesn't fry properly. It's still delicious. Ketchup's good, adds more sweetness to it, but I don't think that even needs it. I'm not someone who usually likes things dark or overdone, but because it's dark, it's got like a crunchy bite to it too. Delicious. And corn dogs I always think of movie semi-pro. That one scene where they're hopefully trying to prevent their team from scoring so they don't score enough points to give corn dogs for all these people. That's what I think of with the corn dogs, but most you get hand-battered corn dog during non-fair times. Alright. If you watch these videos, I have a pretty good big sweet tooth, so I'm looking forward to trying these deep-fried Oreos. These look a little dark too, and kind of like the corn dog was, but smell really good. I've tried it a couple times at fairs. I've never been the biggest fan of them. I don't know if it mashes that well, but usually at a fair, this probably be like $10 to like $5 here. So fair food here, like half the price. So wanted to give this a shot. So here we go. Let's try one. First bite. Wow, delicious. Get the Oreo in there. Let's get the chocolate sauce. Extra chocolate sauce on here. You see like the cream's like melted in the Oreo. What's like cookies and cream the whole thing? That's what it kind of reminds me of. Chocolate syrup on top. Delicious. Wow. Just a nice sweet batter. Very cookie inside. Chocolate syrup on the outside. It's a little messy, but it's delicious. Look at the little tail of this one got. A little crispy like. Yeah. Oh, I see. I think they put powdered sugar on top too. Before they put the chocolate syrup on top. What kind of reminds me of? Almost like a donut batter almost. Like a donut with a Oreo cookie in the inside. Usually you buy fried Oreos at a fair, just an Oreo with a little bit of batter and fried. This is with more batter and cookie. Delicious. I looked up some history about Oreos. Oreos weren't actually the first chocolate sandwich cookies. With chocolate syrup on there. The first chocolate sandwich cookies were actually Ice Rocks sandwich cookies made by the Sunshine Biscuit Company. They lasted for over 90 years until 1999 when they were largely discontinued, and then they actually were brought back in 2015 online like places like Amazon and stuff. They were less sweet and crunchier than Oreos, so they held up and looked better. Oreo. They came out in 1909. Oreos, which were called Oreo biscuits when they first came out, were introduced to the masses by Bisco in 1912. And through the great marketing, to become the world's most popular cookie. This is a big one. That was the last. Because Bisco has been making Oreos for over 100 years, they've got it down to a science. I was reading, they said, each batch of Oreos takes 59 minutes to make. Each Oreo has 71% chocolate cookie, 29% cream, a mess. It's 90 ridges and 12 flowers, 12 dots, and 12 dashes on each side. But you know, and also, it's absolutely delicious fried Oreos. Probably the best I've ever had. Delicious. My final thoughts of Dynamite Dawgs here in Menor. I thought it was absolutely delicious. Everything I had was good, I thought. Everything. My favorite thing probably had to be those deep fried Oreos. Those were absolutely delicious. The best deep fried Oreos I've ever had. It almost tastes like a donut with an Oreo cookie inside. There was so much batter in it. It was deep fried golden brown with drizzle of powdered sugar and chocolate syrup. Absolutely delicious. Definitely something you gotta try if you have a sweet tooth like me. The house battered corn dog was very good as well. Even though it was a little dark, I thought I was a little worried that it was gonna be a little dried out. It still tasted delicious. The house made corn batter was still sweet and delicious, and with that all beef hot dog, it was delicious. And that Polish bread is very good as well. That jumbo Slovenian sausage, homemade coleslaw, homemade barbecue sauce, and fresh cut fries. It all blended all together very nicely, and it was a delicious sandwich. So overall, everything I had was delicious. There's so many different things to try. I think it's best to take somebody with you so you can share things and so you can try 5 or 6 different things. A very cool place to check out and worth the trip if you're in the Menor area. And the James Garfield Historic Site was a cool place to check out too. It's free, and you learn a lot about our 20th president. And with that, I'll see you next time I go to Ohio Eats.